Hello, I wanted to talk today about why the cheap mass marketed programs for weight loss might not be working for you, even if they seem to be working in the past. This is something, how does this work, and does it work predictably and reliably, and does it work for my age group? Does it provide healthy weight loss and sustainable weight loss? These questions became really important to me in my 50s when I had spent over 10 years feeling like I thought I knew how to lose weight, but everything I used to do doesn't work anymore. And so once I figured out the answers, I had to help other women like me because it isn't hard. It doesn't have to be hard, but we have to leave terrible approaches behind. So let me tell you why some of these approaches may not work for you and what you want to do instead. Because I've had a lot of people come to me from Noom and from Weight Watchers, etc. I did Weight Watchers myself. And so I know they have millions of followers. These things are inexpensive, like $20 to $60 a month. So naturally, we want to do the least expensive thing that's going to provide results, right? So let me tell you why these may not be providing good results. One of the ways that I look at this is as a scientist who has expertise in evidence-based practices. And here's what that means is when I finally decided, okay, I loved all my diet books and diet articles and they made sense and they were exciting and they didn't work in any kind of lasting, long-term healthy way. And so I thought, well, I know better than this. I can go directly to the research and look for what is proven to work. And I can look for what are the key elements, the fundamental principles of the things that are proven to work, and what are the dosage, what kind of intervention makes a real difference? How much support do you need, for example, right? So when you look at these mass marketed kind of cheap approaches, you see a couple of reasons why they don't work long term. Now, if you look at, do they work in the sense of does somebody lose weight when they first do this? Most of the time, somebody can lose weight at first. Now, if you look at how much weight, can they lose substantial weight? Like if they need to lose over 10% of their body weight, like I did, you get a much smaller number, closer to 20 to 25%. If you look at what about 2 years later, have people kept the weight off? Now you're getting into very, very low success rates. So UCLA researchers who looked at this, who looked at longitudinal studies of diets, of various kinds of diets, they said it looks like the success rate is less than 1%. And in fact, doing one of these diets is one of the best predictors of weight gain over time, which is a little bit crushing, right? We end up feeling like it's our fault. We have to try harder. Maybe we need to go on to the next thing. Maybe if we keep reading articles every day, we'll find a secret answer. We're taking all the wrong approaches to getting great results. So why are the results so poor in these big programs that have millions and millions of people? Well, after I studied this stuff for years, going beyond the popular books and articles to dig into the research of what works for healthy, sustainable weight loss, I believe I have some understanding of why. So the first thing is the key elements are wrong. They're focusing on eating less calories. It's the wrong approach. It's the wrong focus for us to get real healthy, sustainable weight loss. We can force our weight down at first when we cut our calories, but then our body has a variety of ways of fighting back, of getting back to homeostasis, of getting our weight back up. It thinks we need that, right? So we do not want to focus on, I just have to eat less, I just have to reduce my calories. It's the wrong key element. In fact, if you take nothing else away from what I teach, take this. The first key element that is going to change your life is to focus on eating abundant, highly nutritious foods. Now, I know, first of all, it's hard to know what the highly nutritious foods are because there's so much misinformation in the environment. Second, it's hard to know what abundant means. But I can show you that focusing on calories is the wrong approach. I'll just give you one example. If I have 100 calories of cookies, or 100 calories of berries, is my body going to do the same things? Is it going to do the same things as far as my insulin functioning and my fat storage and energy? No. Is it going to do the same things in my gut functions? One is going to feed the good gut bacteria. One is going to feed the bad gut bacteria. They're going to do completely different things in my body. And part of that is going to relate to my health, and part of that's going to relate to my weight. So instead, we really want to focus on eating abundant, highly nutritious foods, right? So that's the first thing I teach all the people that I work with is change your focus and start with eating a lot more highly nutritious foods. Now, the second big reason these programs don't work well, some of them do have some focus on psychology and the science of habit change, but it's quite inadequate, in my opinion. This is an area of expertise that I've spent 35 years working in, right? I have a doctorate in psychology. They're giving lip service to habit change, but I've seen very few that are really designed to give you a big breakthrough with life-changing habits. So when you're looking at this from an evidence-based practices perspective, you're seeing the key elements aren't right, and the dosage of intervention isn't right, and the evidence doesn't show that it produces the kind of lasting, healthy, sustainable weight loss that we want. So this is why I had to get into this field. I never dreamt I was going to be a weight loss coach, but I struggled so much with it and affected my health so much. It affected my life, my energy, etc. And it just wasn't hard to change once I found the answers. And I just see way too many women my age struggling to figure this out and getting nowhere fast because there's such terrible options being promoted out there. So once I learned, okay, there is an eating approach that produces predictable and reliable results for healthy, sustainable weight loss for women in their 50s and 60s, I knew I needed to help other smart women learn it. And I knew that learning how it works is just the first step. It's also really important to figure out, now, how do I make this a happy habit, right? How do I get into a groove with it so it runs consistently regardless of circumstances? If I'm traveling, if I'm eating alone, if I'm eating with others, if I'm going to a happy hour, if it's a holiday, it's my birthday, etc. How am I going to have these habits just run along quite consistently so I can get the healthy weight loss for good? So I only wanted to do this if it was going to produce lasting results for most people. Less than 1% is not okay with me, not interesting to me. So I'm not doing a program with millions of people. I'm doing a program with a small number of people, all of whom I know well, all of whom I've vetted. I've met with them and invited them into the program because I've seen that they're highly ready for change. They're ready. They're ready to leave quick fixes behind, right? So we are achieving hundreds of times better results in the Slender for Good program than other programs. And there's at least 3 reasons why Slender for Good is so much more effective. And the first one is the eating approach. The Slender Way eating approach is proven to work. It's proven effective for women in their 40s, 50s, 60s to achieve healthy, sustainable weight loss. And when we explore, well, why is this? It's because it focuses on truly nourishing your body as opposed to trying to force it to release excess weight by reducing your calories or your carbs, etc. We start with a focus on giving our body the nutrition it actually needs, and then it no longer needs to store excess fat, right? It's not a matter of tricking it or forcing it. It's a matter of figuring out how to make it healthy and happy. And then it happily resets our weight to a healthier point for good, the way it naturally should be. Yes. Second reason is the program is designed to optimize sustainable results. It capitalizes on the science of habit change. So you start with learning exactly what works, how it works, and why it works. And then month after month, I love to work with people for 12 months because you have 365 days of building one successful mindset on top of another, one successful lifestyle shift on top of another. And you start finding that you're on this easy, natural path to reset your weight for good. it becomes effortlessly sustainable. The new habits become natural, they become routine, they become habitual, right? Now, the third reason we have a high success rate, I already alluded to this, is it's designed to offer a high level of support. I keep the program small enough that we all know each other, that I know each of my clients well, and I can be accessible for expert guidance and coaching whenever people need it. We anticipate and knock down the typical roadblocks or the unique roadblocks for each person, one after another. And we build this wonderful supportive community of smart, empowered people, mostly women, who have all left quick fixes behind. We're empowered. We're ready to get this aspect of life handled. So body weight is just a non-issue in our life. We find that making long-term changes together with other amazing people makes it so much easier. So one of the best things is we all find in our own way, this makes sense. It's easy and it's thoroughly enjoyable. So can you see how what works is different, how it can finally work? You have to get away from the cheap mass marketed approaches. They're just not based on the right principles and they don't have enough support. Get very clear and specific guidelines for how to eat that works for your body to happily release the excess weight, reset naturally to a healthy, slender weight. Get guidance and support for making that eating approach a happy habit. Learn how to crave the good foods, right? So that isn't requiring willpower anymore. Get support for overcoming the roadblocks that come up. There's always going to be roadblocks in any habit change effort. And get support for keeping healthy eating going even after you get to your goal weight, which is a tricky moment for most people. And you become a part of a community of smart, successful women making the same changes. And then you can much more comfortably live in the rest of the world that continues to eat in a way that is making people sick and overweight. Now, if you're ready to finally take real action for change and leave the quick fixes and the cheap mass marketed programs behind, I'd love to talk with you. You can send me an email at drginnyt@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. You do not need to stay stuck with this. You really don't. All right.